So hello guys, welcome back to our channel. Leo ni special episode about the vehicle importation process. Nimekuwa nikiwaambia gari yangu inafika, but imagine what, bado haijafika. Hii mnaona hapa bado si yangu. Mine is arriving next week around date 25th. That's when it is arriving in Nairobi. Saa hizi iko Mombasa, inafanyiwa clearance. But saa hizi tuko na a very very young lady anaitwa Wangoi. Mnaona vile ana smile vizuri. She is our guest for today. Na topic tunaenda kuongelelea is about vehicle importation. The CX5 you are seeing here in front of us, a very very nice car, is a KDN, a vehicle of 2017. Ali import 1.5 years ago, around there 2 years ago. So nitaonyesha tu ndani kidogo vile inakaa, alafu nitakuja kwa Pauline Wangoi tuweze kumuuliza a number of questions, because saa hizi nataka you guys you understand what it means to import a vehicle. So mnaona hiyo gari vile inakaa ndani, mali safi. Hii ni Mazda CX5 2200cc diesel, fully loaded, iko na Bose speakers. Wacha niwaonyeshe hii gari. Ukiingia ndani, music unasikia, you cannot believe it. Iko na leather seat, unaona iko na leather seat, iko na sunroof. Acha nifungue hapo, you see iko na sunroof. Hapa kwa specs unaona iko na power boot, okay, na hapa pia kwa kiti iko na power seat. Hey, very very nice car. I'm telling you, drive nikasikia the power of the diesel 2200cc is not compared with anything else. But leo hatuangalii more about the specs. Nataka to discuss na Pauline atuelezee the whole journey of her importation of this car. I came to learn from her. Actually, yeye alini-inspire niweze kuimport my vehicle, but yeye she imported through a different process than the one I used. So Pauline, maybe you can just come closer to your car. A very beautiful vehicle, by the way. Congrats. We are wondering, young ladies, you have a lot of money nowadays.
Well, we might look young, but we are older than we look.
Yes. You are young at heart.
Young at heart.
I want that grace of looking young forever. Sasa, you imported this car. And on this channel, I also speak nowadays, apart from taxi, naongea sana about car importation, because hiyo ni process nimekuja kuielewa vizuri of late. Pauline is ready to speak to us. You can see her vehicle is so nice. Is a Mazda CX5, as I have told you. She has taken good care of it. No single scratch, nothing. 2 years down the line. So Pauline, I would like you to introduce yourself.
Okay.
Quickly tell us who you are, and then we dive deep into the importation process and the pros and cons and the entire process, how it took you.
Perfect. So naitwa Pauline, like Joseph mentioned, and mi ni mkazi hapa Nairobi, na nimekuja kwa hii channel tuongea kidogo kuhusu the importation process.
All right.
Yes.
So this is a CX5 vehicle that you imported. When did you import it, by the way?
That was back in 2023, so 2 years ago. This year, yeah, it's 2 years.
2 years down the line.
Yes, 2 years
All
down
right.
the line.
So I know there are people who import for various reasons. There are people who import to save money. Others import to get specific specs and, you know, some things within the car that they want.
Yes.
So why did you import?
So for me, I imported because I wanted a particular make of car, and I didn't want the hassle of going to car yards, because I know car yards have been a bit controversial in the past, where something, you get a car but kumbe ni mkebe, ama it has been compromised, or people have done some things. So I didn't want to go or fall prey to that, because importing is an investment heavy process, and you cannot take chances with con men or people who are trying to take advantage. And now being a woman, it's even much harder, because they think that women don't know anything, so they try their best to kukuzungusha hivi. So I really wanted to import for that reason. And two, I also wanted to import originally to save cost, but I'll also talk about how I eventually ended up looking at quality over cost at some point.
All right.
Yeah.
So Pauline, when you decided that this is the vehicle you want to import, did you do a comparison in terms of cost savings by buying locally or by importing?
Yes, I did a comparison, but remember, originally I didn't want to go locally first because of not being sure of whether I will fall victim of all these con games that happen with kayaks. And when I looked around the many kayaks that we have, it was very difficult to also find most of them who have put information online. You know, nowadays you will look for things online. I don't have time to go and visit over 10 kayaks to see what they have to offer. So I wanted to have someone who has digitized the process, but there are very few in the market right now. So that's why I really wanted to go the importing way. And the other thing that I was also thinking about, because I really did my due diligence for 1 year, you may not believe this. And here I was trying to look at who is a credible dealer to help me import, what are the prices. Well, local prices are a bit higher than importing. But then you may remember 2023 was the year when the dollar was doing so badly. The dollar was, not the dollar, the Kenya shillings was doing so badly against the dollar. And in this case, importing anything, not only cars, was also not the best year for traders, because that means you're paying more Kenya money to external or foreign countries and getting very little for that. So it was also not a very good year. It was a tricky year to import things. So for me, cost saving was one thing, but then on the other hand, I knew the shilling doing badly would maybe overshadow that. And then thirdly, with the choice of importing was because I also didn't want to work with a locally used option. I wanted to work with a car that has been, okay, people call them new, but I know they're not new, they're secondhand. But I wanted to get a car that can be verified that this is its quality. That's something they do in Japan, where they rate cars. They have that grading. Unfortunately, for local cars, you cannot grade a car and say, yes, I've used this car in Kenya for 2 years, but what is the grading of this car? It's very hard to tell. So I wanted something I can verify. This car's mileage can be verified. This car grading can be verified. These are the faults that this car has had. Those are all the many things they do when you import a car, which is something I wanted to have the history of the car that I want to invest in.
All right. So I will jump into the nitty-gritties of how the process of importing started. But you have mentioned something very important, that you did your due diligence and investigation and studies around importing a car for a whole 1 year. So is that the time that is required for someone to before you start importing?
No. Actually, nowadays it can take you much shorter time, because of information like this that we share is to help someone so that they don't have to take many months to find out that information. So if you learn, for example, from me, you learn from another person, you also take information from, I know you have done so many videos, Joseph, on how to import a car, and I would highly recommend people to watch some of the videos you've done. And these are the avenues that are helping people to take the shortest time possible. For me, yes, there are people who are creating content around cars, but it took me much time because there were not many back then. People have started emerging, but that time there were not many. Secondly, I also took my time because I was also comparing multiple cars. By the time I was settling for this car, I had also done a comparison against 4 other cars, looking at their pros, looking at their cons, speaking to people who own them to find out what they have gone through, finding whether there are communities of people who own the same cars so that they can share the challenges. So I think that's why it took me long, but I don't think it should take someone 1 year. And information like this should now help people to take much shorter time. Months, weeks, yeah.
All right. So now that you have told me that you did a comparison between buying locally and importing, and at some point now you made, a step forward to say that I'm going for importation.
Yes.
Where exactly did you start that process?
Okay.
With who did you import your car?
Okay. I don't know whether I can mention their name here. Are we allowed to give them
Maybe at the end of the video.
Okay, cool. So I mentioned I did my due diligence 1 year, and in that 1 year, I had been able to identify several, 2 to 3 trusted dealers, and I had looked at their work and seen that they are credible and I can trust them. So I settled for one. But then, even if I settled for one, I had consulted with the other, meeting them, speaking over phone, communicating via WhatsApp and all those things. So I'd spoken to several and then I settled for this one. So they have an office here in Westlands. I made a visit. We went, talked, and they explained to me their process. Fortunately, they also have their process outlined on their website. But I also wanted to be sure that what you have said there is what is the reality. And secondly, I also wanted to ask more questions that had not been answered by the information they had shared. So I went, had a physical meeting with them. And something funny about dealers everywhere who sell cars, they will first tell you the options they have available. They will tell you to look at the options they have locally because they're trying to also get their stock moving. But then I was very grounded on, no, I don't want this car that I can see here. I don't know its history. I just want to import this car through the normal process. So we sat down, they gave me the process. The first step for them, for example, you need to make a down payment to show a commitment. And this way, it helps them have confidence that this person is serious about this process. They cannot start the process of importing and inquiring while you've not made the commitment, because you can change your mind or you can turn around, and then that's a waste of their time. So I made a very small down payment. It's really negligible, honestly. So
Like how much Kenya shillings?
between 100 and okay, based on the value of the car, because they based it on the value of the car. It's different for a small car versus a premium car. So they do a percentage. So it's in the hundreds of thousands, but on the lower side. Yes. So for me, it was not alarming, so I was comfortable to make that payment. Then after that, they started seeking or sourcing the car for me. They would send me options. So every day we would communicate via WhatsApp. They would send me the images. These are the specs. This is what we have upcoming in the auction. You know, in Japan, they do the auctioning system where cars are auctioned. This is what we are finding. But I had given them my list. I want this and this and this. This for me is the most important. So you usually list your top priority things. Top priority are usually things like the engine specs. Do you want a petrol or a diesel? Even if you want a diesel, how many cc or what's the size of the engine that you want? You can also give specs on, for example, do you want a forward drive or an all-wheel drive? Because those things make a difference when you're moving. Do you want, for example, a car that has larger wheels or larger rims, or do you want, so all those things. Other non-essentials are things like color. Color is least of the priorities, but I mean, you can have your preference. I want a red car, I want a yellow car, I want a green car. For me, color was not a big deal. I had an option of 2 colors because there are not many for this car. And other things that they also ask is, for example, do you want premium features like a sunroof? For me, sunroof was not important because we have so much sun in Africa. But anyway, we have a sunroof here, but I'll explain how I ended up there. They also look at other options such as the interior. Do you want leather seats or textile? Is it textile or fabric seats?
Fabric.
Of course, leather is more premium. The sound system, the people who are so particular about the sound system, for me, it's not an issue, but some cars come with much quality or higher grade sound system. Others, additional features like power seats that maybe don't use the lever. All those are just additional parts, but they're not the most important things. I think the most important thing is here.
Yeah, the engine.
The engine, and that's the heart of the car. That's the life of the car. So they sent me options. One thing I have to say is that it's not easy to find all the things you want in a car. It's hard to find that car in a very easy period. Maybe that was my experience. But for me, I had to screen over 20 cars to arrive at what I wanted. And even then, I didn't.
20?
Yes, I didn't tick all my boxes. There are things I had to compromise on. So that goes to say that sometimes they will send you a car and it will have everything you need, and maybe the mileage is higher. And maybe I want a mileage that's lower because these cars are used. Or it will have everything that you need, and maybe the color is different. So as someone who is importing, you ask yourself questions, is that something I could compromise on? For me, for example, I was ready to compromise on color. But I was not ready to compromise on, I was not ready to compromise on the engine, for example. You can also compromise on other things such as the seats. The seats are leather seats. For sure, it's a normal seat, but I was very particular. I want leather seats. And even when you have leather seats, they are black or white. So for me, having white seats was not my first option, but then it was a non-essential. Having larger rims was very important for me because I needed ground clearance. But sometimes you get smaller rims, and you just, for you as a person, as you list your things, I think it's important to highlight these ones I'm not compromising. These ones
You can
I
compromise.
can compromise. Yeah. So they send me options. Finally, we settled for the 20-something car. It came with additional things that I had not asked for, but at least it was ticking most of my boxes. And that's how I ended up with this car. But it had fulfilled my very basic requirements, and I was happy with it.
All right. So you have told me that you screened over 20 vehicles. And I think, when I'm advising people on how to import, there are people who are jumping directly into telling me, send me the photos, send
Yeah.
me the options you have, because I'm not officially in the business of car importation. But I feel like it is a lot of effort to for someone to start inquiring about a car, asking for photos of a car that is in the option, in
Yeah.
the auction.
Yeah.
You have to like contact 2-3 people to get the photos, and these guys have not made even a down payment.
Yeah.
So I understand why like these importers will ask for down payment, because
Yes.
for them to send you 20 photos of a car that is not in their showroom
Yeah,
is
it's
already a lot of
work.
efforts.
Honestly, yeah, they requires a lot of patience with your importer, because it's also demanding on their end, because whatever is coming up on the auction is not something they determine. It's what is available. That is what the market has to offer.
Yes.
So it's just their job to tell you, by the way, this is what you wanted. This is coming up in the auction. Do you want to consider? If you say no, then they have to go back. So as an importer, you need to be very patient, because sometimes it will take you weeks before whatever you want comes up in the auction. And again, like you mentioned, if you don't make the down payment, they don't have the motivation to continue, because if you keep saying no, 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 like I did, because at some point I thought they were tired with me, but they were still very patient with me, which is one thing I really appreciated. And one thing I need to mention is, the more now I was rejecting whatever they had sent me initially, the more they were also being particular, or they had to narrow down the offer. Instead of sending me everything, they would at least, for example, remove those that I know I will just say no, automatically. So it also reduces their work on their end to remove things that they know I'll definitely say no. So, and of course, eventually when we got the car, I was happy, they were happy. And then now I moved to the next step, which was making the next installment. Or should we?
No problem. So before we get now into the payment and everything else, when you are settling down for this final option, you said is your 20th something vehicle.
Yes.
How long did it take for you to screen 20 vehicles in terms of weeks or months?
Yes, it took close to 6 weeks.
6 weeks, almost 2 months before you got the car that you wanted.
Yes.
And all this time they had your money. Did you feel like asking them to give back the money?
No, I was not worried, because, like I mentioned, there is a reason why I did the due diligence, to be sure that I'm not having sleepless nights just because I'm importing. That's one thing I was not going to do. So if I have made the decision that this is a person that I trust, even when I have put my down payment, I'm sure that it's safe, and I'm not worried that maybe they are taking long because they are trying to screw me or take money from me. So yeah, I was comfortable, and I was confident that it's still there. So it took 6 weeks, because every week there is that option. So week 1, no, I don't. Week 2, so it took close to 1.5 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you have the car. What next?
So
You
the
have
car
told
has
them
been
that
settled.
this car, I like
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Everything about it is what I wanted. Let's move forward.
Yeah, so again, back to their process, because every dealer is different. For them, after the down payment, if they identify the car, you make an installment, so that they can also start their commitments with the dealer or whoever is selling the car to them. So I made the next installment. So I had a total of 4 installments in the whole process, and that was a negotiation between me and them. And different dealers are flexible. Some people have money, they pay up front, they pay everything, just bring me the car. I didn't have that option. Some will take up to 5. It's just you to negotiate with the dealer on what's your capability. So for me, I negotiated 4 milestones. Start the process, I pay a down payment. 2, identify the car, I make the first installment. After I made the first installment, now they began the process of now procuring the car. And that means they bid it, they get the car, they pay the prices they pay there. And then my third milestone was the car has left the port at Japan, and now it's on its way to Kenya. So I made a payment. And then when the car gets to Kenya again, I made another down payment. But this was a catch for me because I didn't want to clear the entire balance if I have not seen the car and I have not verified that everything that I had asked you have brought, because it's easy to tell me this car had something, but I can't see it from here. So the bulk of the payment, or the huge part of the payment of this car, was the last payment that I made, and that for me was on purpose because I needed to verify. This is what we agreed. This is what you have brought. So the car got to Mombasa, brought it all the way to Nairobi. So the day I went to the dealer that the car has arrived, they called me. They have picked the process, the number plates for me. They have paid the taxes, the duties. That was not my process. I didn't want to go through all that headache. They did all that process for me, but they were very transparent. For example, when they paid KRA, they sent me receipts. They sent me the history of the car because that's also a requirement for me. They sent me the grading or how the car was verified back there in Japan. So they were very transparent with the process. So the only time maybe they would ask me for something is, for example, what is your KRA pin? You know, those things are needed
for number plate
yes.
registration.
What is your, send me your ID, all those things. So, but they took care of the whole process. So the car got to Nairobi. They called me, went, I inspected the car. They fixed the number plates. I did a test drive. I was happy with the car, and that's when I made the last payment because I had verified that this is what they had said and this is what I had. And even beyond that, and this is goes again to show that the choice of the person you choose to import makes sense. It should make sense to you. They were ready to offer more after sales services. The dealer I was working with is a dealer, for example, who tells you, import the car with me, do the service with me, you get this much discount, or this is how much you save if you continue to service with us. And the day you get tired of this car and you want to sell it back, come give it back to us. We will sell it on our marketplace, and we can do that process for you and help
because
you.
They
get,
know the car.
They know the car. They know the history. They're confident of the history when it came from Japan. They are not taking any chances to cut corners or leave you. Now take the car. Whatever you find out is a problem when you're there, that is not my problem. These ones were ready to continue accommodating me, which showed confidence that they understood that whatever they had brought was not having issues. And I can attest that 2 years afterwards, because it's 2 years now, I've not experienced any issues with just normal services here.
All right. So these guys have done all this job for you.
Yes.
And I'm wondering, what is in it for them? Because you have said they are very transparent. They have shown you all the prices.
Yes.
But what is in it for them? How much do they charge you?
They take a cut, definitely, and most dealers take a cut. Some calculate that in terms of percentage, the percentage of the value of the car. Some do it by giving a fixed amount. For them, they take a cut, I think, from the percentage of the car, which for me...
They took out a percentage?
I think so. Because when I did the math and I also did my own due diligence, it made sense how much they took, because it would take care of the costs and all the efforts they've incurred. Of course, they have paid several people along the way who are helping them with the handling. So yes, they took a cut, and I mean, just like any other business, if you support someone to import something or to sell something, you take your...
Do you mind telling us how much? No, not the price of the car, like how much, literally in terms of Kenya shillings, did they take?
Okay, in Kenya shillings, I might
to help
not
you import?
know. But I think their cut was approximately 3% of the value of the car.
3%?
Yes.
So like in hundreds of...
Yes, it's of course in the six figures. Yeah, but I don't have the absolute Kenyan figures. So back then when I did the math, remember it's 2 years ago, so I don't have all the figures top of mind, but it's approximately 3% of the value of the car.
So what we are saying is, if this car costed you, let's say, 3 million, then they took like 300K.
3% of 3 million is 300K. I don't know. Yeah, but if the car costs 1 million, 3% is 30,000.
Yes.
Is it? Yes. If the car costs 1 million,
Yes.
no, if the car costs 1 million, 3% is...
Watu watafanya hesabu.
Utai-
Fanyeni hesabu hapo.
Okay.
Hatutaedit, mtafanya hesabu. We have a lot of tension here doing this video and doing the math for everyone. But I don't think 3% is like all the money. So I think it's not that
It's
expensive.
okay, yeah.
It's okay as long as you get
I
what
got
you
what
want.
I wanted. For
Yeah.
me, cost was actually secondary than originally it was the primary factor, but when it got to a point where I really wanted the quality to be more, cost became second or secondary to me.
And I think in my experience trying to import my car and actually importing it,
Yeah.
I came to realize in between you can get lost and end up maybe spending more money than you had intended to.
Yes.
Did that happen to you? Because me,
Yes.
when I started, I had a certain budget,
Yeah.
and I can tell you it went up by 30%.
Yeah.
Because when I started receiving options from the auction,
Yeah.
you start seeing newer things, better things,
Yeah.
and you feel like these things are not letting them go.
Yeah.
You go back into your pocket, you dig deeper.
I
Did that
can
happen to you?
Yeah, I can relate to that because my case too, whatever I had originally budgeted for went up by close to what you just mentioned, around 30%. And I think this is something you need to be ready. You need to be ready or open-minded too, because sometimes, for example, like I said, we are having foreign currency involved here. You cannot control how the shilling behaves. So for me, actually, one of the things that made the cost go high was because those days the dollar was going up every other week. The dollar was,
So the first installment,
yeah, the shilling was
it's
becoming
different
weaker
from
and
the
weaker and weaker.
second.
And at that point, I was really panicking because I was like, if this shilling collapses, then importing was the worst idea of my life. But luckily, at some point, it got to a
Stabilized.
stable place. And the other thing that brought the cost up was, and something maybe I didn't mention was the fact that I went through all those 20-something auctions. At some point, they even had to look for cars outside of the auction because they were not finding what I wanted. And sometimes if you go to other dealers who are not part of the auction, you know, in an auction, it's the highest bidder. So the amount can vary. But if you go to someone who's already having their fixed prices, then you have to go to work with what they're telling you and maybe negotiate a little bit. So that was one of the things that also made the cost go up. And the other thing also was shipping. I don't know whether maybe most people know, but if you want your car booked in a ship that is already almost leaving, or if you want your car much sooner, the arrangements that can be made for you to get the earliest ship that will dock, and that comes with a premium price. Or you can just queue and wait for when your turn will come, because ships fill as they leave, and if you are in the queue, then you get the normal price. But if you want top priority, maybe in a ship that is almost leaving and you are at the back of the queue, you can also pay a premium price.
All right.
Yes.
So now let's go back to the timelines as we get closer to the end of the video. You took around 2 months to spot the
Identify.
vehicle you want, and then from there, how long did it take for you to receive the car?
It took around another 3 months.
Another 3 months.
Yes.
After the 2 months.
Yes.
So it took you 5 months to get this car.
5 months.
Wow.
One, let me say, that's not the typical importing time. It takes between 1 month and above. I think 1 month is the least time you can get the car. But I think people may remember also, during that year, we had a number of bills that were passed around car importation, and things were changing a lot. So if you've imported a car in 2023 and before that, you'll notice that there were times we used to have something called the good year and bad year, which means if your car is manufactured in February, for example, February of 2017, and you need to have a cut of not older than 7 years, then it needs to land here on the February of 2023 or later. You can't bring the car before, because if you do, the way they calculate the duty and the tax, they look at, I don't know how to explain that concept, but if you Google bad year, good year, you'll see where if you imported a car in a
Good
certain
month,
month,
you mean?
good month, if you imported a car in a certain month, you need to coincide that car to the month after 7 years, that month after the 7 years, you need to bring that car during that month or after. If you do a month prior, let's say I import a February 2017 car and it comes here in February 2023, and maybe it lands in January, just before February, my tax bracket goes higher. I get charged the tax of someone who is paying for a 2018 car, even when my car is a 2017 car.
So those links of months, I think they were removed
They were
nowadays.
removed when I was importing. So I was
Okay.
having a very dynamic process, by the way, because
You had to wait.
yes, this car was a September car, and we had started the process in May. So we had to really time it to arrive in September. Otherwise, if it arrived before September, then I would have
Your duty could have.
jumped my duty to the next year, which was higher. So that was the reason why the car delayed that way. Yeah, but I
And
was still patient. I mean, for me, it was
Wow.
not. Yeah.
Me, I have waited for my car for 45 days since I paid for it, and I feel like it has been a whole year.
Yeah.
The problem is that I'm doing so many videos around the car, and people are not seeing it. People like were feeling I need to present that car
Yeah.
for me to sound genuine.
Yeah.
But that one, I think it will happen very soon.
Okay.
But I can imagine how patient you are,
I think
sacrificing like 5 months
Yeah.
before you see your car.
I'm an outlier because I know cars between 1 month, 2 months that I did not understand. I knew why the process is delaying. But I was also growing impatient at some point, you know. You're like the ship. I even had the map of the ship and how the ship is moving, and sometimes I thought the ship is moving so slow.
You should increase some speed. Uh-huh.
But eventually I could see when the ship landed, and I knew I got notifications from my dealer, it has arrived. So we were on sync, or we were syncing with them.
All right.
Yeah.
So as we finish, if you were to repeat the same process again
Yeah.
of buying a car like this one, or maybe a bigger one, would you import or would you buy locally?
I would still import.
You would still import.
Yeah.
Would you use the same people or there are other things you have discovered after importing?
Now I know you are importing cars and you're my good friend, so I'll come to you.
You will come to me.
Yes.
At least I will not take the 3%.
You take one.
Or 0.5.
Wow, you see?
You see?
Yes, so I'll
Yeah.
come to you because you're my good friend. That time you were not importing. Now I know you're importing and you're helping people.
Yeah.
So I'll come to you, Joseph.
And thank you very much for inspiring me.
Yeah.
I got interested in the importation after you told me, after I saw your vehicle arrive. So all these things were inspired by,
Oh, thank you.
the courage you took,
Yeah.
and also being a lady, a tiny lady,
Yes, that's
taking
also
all that, courage to import a vehicle, paying
Yeah.
thousands, millions of money to people,
Yeah.
and you have not seen the car.
Yeah.
I think that's a step of courage.
True. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. It's not easy to import by the way. I can tell you.
It's not.
People want like to finish business there and there.
Yeah.
You release your money, you get your car.
Money bring my car.
Yes.
Yeah, and it requires a lot of patience.
Yes. But I think the satisfaction after importing, it's so good because you exactly get what you want, then there is value for money. Yeah. All right, Pauline. Thank you very much. And sorry for keeping you for so long.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm happy to share this. I hope a lady somewhere has been encouraged because I know ladies fear this process much, much more. I mean, it goes to show that anyone can afford a car. You just need to know your thing so that you don't get taken advantage of. So this is why we share this kind of information to help women, especially who are trying to import cars. Please don't fear. Just like men do it, we can also do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I can encourage.
Sawa. Thank you very, very much. I think what men can do, women can do better.
Yes.
Yes. Sawa, Pauline. Thank you and bye-bye.
Bye.